by far is the largest Occupy of anything. It was very impressive and inspiring to see. So we were just talking to, I don't know how many were there, a couple thousand people. So thank you for waiting. My apologies. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because I know Portland is a city that's always on time. And so I wasn't supposed to say anything, but can I say a couple of things? Yeah. Well, you know, we're living in a historic moment. I really believe this. I'm very excited about what's happening. And if you could come with me across the country, and I think I can fit most of you in the van, you would see just the most incredible thing going on right now. Not just in the Portlands and the Berkeleys and all the usual suspects, but in small towns and villages, these little occupied, 50 people, 100 people. There's a town there where I live in Michigan. They've got maybe 10,000 people in the entire area. They had 100 people out there on Saturday. That's 1% of the population of that small town. Or in other words, if we had a national demonstration on the Mall in Washington, D.C., that'd be 3 million people. You know, this was in a conservative small town in southwestern Michigan. So it's like Saturday night. I was in a small town, Nevada City. You know where this is? Yeah. Last week they told me they have 400 people that occupy Grass Valley. And I'm like, wow, this has spread. This has spread with no organization, no leader, no spokesperson, no dues you have to pay. It's just been, you know, but it had to happen, right? Because eventually people were going to say enough. And how many of us have been saying for how long, when are people going to say enough is enough, right? And I knew it would just take a spark, just for something to happen. I've been down at Occupy Wall Street. I've been down there probably about a dozen times now in the last 6 weeks in New York City. And this is a movement that cannot be stopped, because it affects so many people. And I was telling the media that were here a few minutes ago, Coin TV, was that what it's called?
Yes, one of them.
One of them. And KG something. You know, it's like, they're like, who organized this? I'm saying, well, there's that Wells Fargo building down there. They organized it. You can just throw so many people out of their homes, or have them living in fear of foreclosure. That is millions are doing. 50 million people with no health insurance. 46 million living in official poverty. Right? 40 million adults who are functional illiterates in this country now. We have 40 million adults who cannot read and write above a 4th grade level. That's the country that we have. That's the country that they've created through their greed. And it was sooner or later, the karma was going to come back to them, because they couldn't just stop with being just like simple greedy people. They just had to keep having more and more. They had to invent schemes on Wall Street to figure out how to rig the casino. How can we get the pension funds to people? How can we suck their 401ks? How can we, because we just don't have enough with the billions we already have. We got to have more. And they were like addicts, like crack addicts. They couldn't get enough of it. And then sooner or later, the marshal rode into town. The people. And that's what's happening right now. The people are not going to tolerate this anymore. Now, I know for those of you who are more disciplined and have numerous degrees and are wondering, well, what's the end game here? What's the goal? What are the goals of this group? What are they doing? They're just camping out. Let me just say this. Number one, this had to start somewhere. We're only in the we're still even 6 weeks old. This movement, the goals will happen. The agenda will take place. The political force of will happen, like a tsunami. Trust me on this, all right? But it has to start first, right? And so they've already had a number of incredible victories. Number one, this movement, I mean, it's changed the national discussion. The debate has changed. When's the last time you heard them talking about the debt ceiling? Right? Or the deficit? It's all gone now, right? This is what they talk about. They got even Boehner today. Even Boehner had to use Obama's words when he was asked about it today. Boehner says, yes, I think the Occupy movement, expresses the frustrations of people. It's like, wow. That's a real balls to say that. Consider you helped to cause the frustration. And let me tell you, it ain't frustration anymore. You should have dealt with it when it was just frustration. So, it's too late now. They could, because so much of the middle class supported them, supported capitalism, supported the Horatio Alger thing of someday, yes, anybody in America can make it. Anybody can be president. And they had people believing that for so long, they should have just went, what was the game where you say, okay, I'm out. I can't remember the game show now. But it's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? That's what it was. And you go, I don't want to go to the next level. I'm happy with my $250,000 that I've already won. And they should have been happy. They should have been happy after they foreclosed on the first 1 million homes. They should have went, okay, wow, that was freaking cool. Just destroyed the lives of 1 million people and chopped up their mortgages and sold them off, bundled them, put them into derivatives, and then took bets out against them. They betted. The same banks that did these mortgages betted mortgages would fail. The same in a different department that betted on because they better would know that it would all come collapsing down than them because they created the foundation of it. Just utter sheer evil genius. And they should have taken the money and run after the first million foreclosures. Then it went to 2 million. Then it went to 3 million. Then it went to 4 million. Right now, tonight, 10 million American homes. 10 million are either in foreclosure, facing foreclosure, or underwater and heading toward foreclosure. This is, if they don't understand the panic that will take place and the collapse of their way of life, then they are completely clueless. Because you cannot throw 10 million families out on the curb. You may be able to punk on the poor like you've always done. Those who have never been able to be a have, never able to have their own home, never able to send their kids to a good school. So they're already depressed and they understand how the fix is in for them. But now you've done it to the people who voted for your Republican politicians. You've done it to the middle class. You've done it to the people who've had these things, and now you want to take it from them? And you think they're just going to go away? What were they thinking? What were they thinking? They've completely overplayed their hand. And they have created their own doom. So when Coin with a K-T-V asked me who organized this, that's why I said Wells Fargo, Citibank, Chase, and all the rest of corporate America, and the 400 Americans who now have more wealth than 150 million Americans combined. 400. Absolutely insane. And so, anyways, I gotta just finish up here because I wasn't supposed to talk. I love coming to Portland.
Yeah.
This is you don't live really in one of the greatest cities in this country.
Keep coming back.
I know you have your problems here. I know it has its flaws. I watch Portlandia. You can live here. No, I said, my sister's with me, I said, I got to tell you, if it weren't for where I live in Michigan, if I had to live someplace else, this is where I would live. yet, and what's so great about this is that this is such a town of individuals, and yet you collectively come together on so many things. Like you found the right mix of respecting the individual, creativity that's in each of us, and yet what we decide to do here in Portland has to always go through the filter of what is best for the common good. That's really that's an outsider. And you maybe take it for granted because you're here and everything seems, whatever. But when you're from Michigan, when you're from a depressed, really depressed, not the recession that you're going through, I mean totally whacked out depression that we're looking for in Michigan. You're blessed to be here. So I just want to tell you to have faith. Don't give up. Everybody's got to do their part. You don't have to go down and sleep in the park. Let the Portlandians that will do that for you. But you do have to do something. Everybody has to do a little bit now. And it no longer is just one or two or three people. It no longer is a Naomi Klein or an Amy Goodman or a Michael Moore or whatever. It's now a million Amy Goodmans and a million Naomi Kleins and a million of me. And we're all in this together. And there are no leaders. We are all leaders of this movement.
Yeah!
And you have to lead in your neighborhood, at your school, at your church, wherever your group of people are. You have to be a leader. That's why we're all leaders in this. And we're all spokespeople. Every person in here, I'm going to guarantee this, has a story to tell. You know somebody, or maybe that somebody is yourself, who has had their health insurance taken away from them, who's had to take a cut in pay, can barely afford to get by. You know people who don't have enough food on the table. You know people whose jobs have been moved elsewhere by a company that's already making billions of dollars. Everybody has a story to tell. And so tell those stories. Use the internet. Use your neighborhood. Use every device you have to be a human microphone. That's the beauty of the part of this movement that should never change. So I ask you to join with me as I join with you to keep this going. Remember that you live in a liberal country. It is not just Portland. The country is now Portland. And you need to know that. You need to know as you venture beyond Vancouver and Salem and coming toward Boise and Spokane. That they are now you. Seriously. That's the country you live in. The majority of Americans, the vast majority of Americans now, are against these wars. And they want the $2 billion a week to stop going to these wars. Majority of Americans, I mean, you go down all the issues. They take the liberal position now on every issue, really, but the death penalty. And that was very close now. But on every issue, whether it's women should be paid the same as men, 80% agree with that. We need stronger environmental laws, not weaker ones. 85% believe in that. You go down you live in a liberal country. Even last month, for the first time ever, about 54% in the most recent poll, 54% of the American public says they now believe that gay marriage should be the law of the land, the whole country. Those are your fellow Americans. And a lot of times you're sitting here in Portland going, oh, it's just us, or it's just we're all on the country's so crazy, and it's got all these people who think that Adam and Eve rode on dinosaurs 6 everybody ourselves out of this. But that's not the truth. You've been lied to. You've been lied to. And I'll tell you, you know who knows it more that this is a liberal country? It's a progressive. You know who knows it, really knows it? The right wing knows it. The Republicans know it. Fox News knows it. Because if Fox News and Rush Limbaugh actually believed that the majority of the country was conservative and right wing, when you turned on their show every day, it would open with zippity-doo-dah, zippity-doo-dah. Right? They'd be happy. They'd sound happy, wouldn't they? Oh, good morning, fellow Americans. That's not what it sounds like, is it? You turn on Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity. They're so upset. Why are they upset? Because they know they live in a liberal country. That's why they're upset. Here's to change the voter registration, to make it harder for people to vote. Now, let me just pose this question to you. If you believe that the majority of the country was conservative or headed, leaning toward the right, would you try to suppress the vote? No! You try to increase the vote. If you believe your fellow Americans thought like you, Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck, you try to increase the vote. But, I mean, seriously, right? The Republicans would be introducing bills to put voting booths in every aisle of every Walmart all across America if they thought they truly lived in a right-wing country. They don't. They don't. That's why they're trying to rig now. After rigging Wall Street, now they want to rig the election. So that what we're going to do is sign some books. I've overstayed my time speaking here, but I just want to say to Powell, I've been here before with them where they've done the books. We've done it in a church. We've done it in the old Rose Arena. I think this is my first time here. I was here in another lifetime. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, thank you to Powell for being here. I love seeing that sign that Portland is Book City. It's incredible. Congratulations for having union workers here.